come from Bangladesh, down Hobbyganj, and I'm from Dhaka. And my practice is a lot to do with memory and heritage, and bringing histories of our background to the screen, whether it's a narrative fiction or documentary. So when I sort of met Thomas on the Resonate program, that was a really great moment for me as an artist to experiment, to grow my practice. I'm also a lecturer at the University of Portsmouth in the UK, so I'm always in rooms like this. So hopefully I can give you some insight as to how I've got to where I'm at to today. And during that practice of Resonate, the major thing that I wanted to look for with my work, my practice, was to change my approach, to think about the process. I'm very used to having the story and working with that story that I've written. And actually what the Resonate program allowed me to do is actually to listen to other people's stories and find my own entry point, my own access to that story. It was a really challenging, interesting time for me as a creative. A lot of the time when you're making a film or a project, you get a lot of guidelines. You have to make it for this certain time, it has to be for these kind of people. And actually Thomas and the team that were curating that particular installation gave me freedom. And as an artist, that's an amazing thing and something that I'm very, very happy that I found, but also scary because I don't know if I'm making the right thing, if it's a good thing. So during that process of making my first project with Thomas Memory, that allowed me to connect my background to the stories of Jersey, which is where the original program came from. Thinking about process and technology, that's always been a difficult part of my own work. I shoot a lot of film, so film stock rather than shooting on digital. And thinking about how to connect the digital world with the analog world is a process that I wasn't accustomed to, not used to. And yet, through some of the residency elements, so we sought the advice of people in XR and immersive works, I got to see the power of technology and how we as artists and creatives can utilize it and harness the best parts of technology. So it's not destructive, it constructs, it develops, it enriches our experience. And so moving forward with my short film Memory, it has traveled the world and it's been my most successful film, a project that I had no understanding of at the beginning, has shown me how to connect to different cultures and different traditions and different ways of working. And I think that's the beauty, the power of what Thomas does, what the Play Office does, and what immersive work can do. It's not just one thing, it's anything that you can dream of within technological remit. The technology obviously sometimes is a barrier to the work, but it allows you to open up your mind, the scope of a project. I think that is, for me as an artist, a developing process. And that brings us quite nicely to meeting a lot of the people here and seeing your challenges and seeing the way in which you work with your art pieces and your drawings and sculpture and fine art. I am so humbled and incredibly gracious to be in this environment, seeing incredible work done in Bangladesh. It makes me feel like I need to work harder at my practice, despite the work that I produce. It's amazing to work with students. The scope, the ambition, the incredible ideas that are generated in an hour. I sometimes spend years thinking of one line, and then there are 20 ideas in the space. And I think over the last 4 or 5 days, to see that creativity harnessed in that room has been incredible and scary. So I won't go too much more into that, unless you want me to talk a bit more, but the technology that we've brought over and sort of championed from our side, the way it's been adopted and connected with the students here has been brilliant. There's been some curation from Thomas and a lot of hard work on his part. I've done my best as a storyteller to try and shape the ideas so that they're manageable, but Thomas has taken on such 12 diverse projects, and I think from our point of view, we wish we were here for 2-3 years, let alone 4 or 5 days to work on this project. So I'll pass over to Thomas. And we don't have the projector on right now. If we do, we can show you some of that work. but if not, we'll maybe describe some of those assets and maybe something that we can discuss.
Yeah, maybe I'll just use it as a reference for myself. But I kind of just wanted to highlight a few of the things the students have been exploring this week. So, looking at objects and photogrammetry, so photo scanning of objects. I've actually got your object here. And creating some amazing use cases with those objects. So photogrammetry is pretty industry standard now. Film production or game design. So it's encouraged the students, I think, to think in those spaces. So there's this kind of idea of a game around hearing and deafness and an experience of how deaf people experience the world. And it's your grandmother, right? I don't know.